Sarah Leah Whitson is Director of Middle East and North Africa at the Human Rights Watch. She joins us now via Skype from New York. Thanks so much for being with us. If I could start with the situation. We're hearing more reports of more protests. From what you're hearing, does it sound like it's all escalating?
Well, it certainly sounds like it escalated on Friday when we saw what are reportedly the largest demonstrations that have taken place in the country, reportedly up to 1 million people in Syria on the streets protesting, and really in so many places throughout the country, in not just one localized, isolated place.
Well, we're also hearing reports of more casualties, particularly in Homs, which is a bit worrying, isn't it? Is it a sign of Syrian society breaking down into along sectarian lines?
I don't necessarily think so, no. I think you've seen the demonstrations throughout the country. It's a diverse country, and I think the protesters have been somewhat diverse, but mostly it's an overwhelmingly Muslim country. And so it would be too easy to dismiss it as sectarian.
How seriously should we take claims once again of defections from the army, particularly in Al Kamal? I mean, we've heard these reports throughout the last few weeks and months, haven't we?
We have, and we ourselves have interviewed and spoken with numerous defectors, soldiers who've broken with their ranks and refused to follow the orders they were given. And really, these are extremely brave soldiers who've decided to risk their lives, because we do know that many defecting soldiers have also been killed. And these soldiers have risked their lives, have tried to escape rather than follow the brutal orders they're receiving, including orders to shoot on demonstrators, to shoot on unarmed demonstrators.
But nevertheless, is it having much effect? I mean, it does look like the core of the security forces remains intact.
Yeah, well, it remains intact, except that the country's not intact. The country is in protest. The country's in demonstration. I think the one big difference, for example, if you were to compare the 17-day events of Egypt, is that the army there didn't shoot on protesters, and in Syria they are. And that's why you're seeing these breaking in ranks. I would venture to say that this issue, the situation in Syria is not resolved in the favor of the government or the protesters, and it won't be for a while.
Meanwhile, while those reports of shooting on protesters goes on, the EU and European countries talking about more sanctions. Is that sufficient?
It's not sufficient, obviously. If it was merely a question of sanctions to curb the Syrian government's worst abuses, we might not have seen their behavior getting worse, not better. But it's certainly a very important measure, because it is about legitimacy, it is about international standing, and it's a very strong signal from the international community and from those participating in the sanctions that Syria cannot go on with business as usual. It's not just another day when Syria guns down over 1,500 of its own people, and that it will not have the same standing in the international community as it did before this happened.
All right, Sarah Leah Whitson, good to get your thoughts.
Thank you.